sure what it means when I open up the text line and I read Salsa won last Friday night for Lily. That's what we were talking about yesterday. Salsa won the Big Ring. Got a little bigger than that. Salsa won last night. You there? Isotopes didn't. I know that much. I know the Clippers didn't, and I know the Heat didn't. Good morning, and what day is today? Merry Thursday, 2nd of May. The opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. I caught a little of the opening of Kimmel last night. I don't even know why. And JJ, he put together a clip of newscasts around America, and it's amazing how many. Oh my God, I can't believe it's May. Can you believe it's May? It's already May. Can you believe it's May? It's already May.
It's gonna be May.
It's May. How you living? You all right?
Heart's beating.
So, I'd sell you insurance. I guess that's good. I'm going to be back in studio. Thanks for letting me back in the building. No Isaiah today. It's just me and JJ on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. But a whole lot to do on this Thursday as the basketball portal is now closed. The football portal is closed as well. So go out and get it. It's full of dudes. Go out and find what you need. You know who you lost. You know who you kept. Donovan Dent. Feel better, Lobo fan? Donovan Dent is staying. He said he's staying. The portal closed, and I did not see a report that Donovan Dent jumped in the portal. You?
That feel fantastic. And I think that's the way that Lobo fans were feeling up until 2 days ago, thinking that they had retained the core of the team next year. Still have a good basketball team coming back. The JT Toppin announcement definitely stings. It's a bummer. It's frustrating, but then you look at the portal, and there's a lot of dudes available. And see what connections you have.
A lot of guys went in yesterday, man. And you know, it's not just this league who's affected. I mean, you look, and there's plenty of guys from big leagues, from Georgia, from Minnesota, from Vanderbilt, from Arkansas that got in the portal just yesterday, the day before, Illinois and Louisville. And I mean, it's not just you. I know it feels that way in some respect. But JT Toppin's in, and go out and find what you got to find. And I know that's where Richard Pitino is right now. And it's interesting as you look through it, all the rankings and where does he rank and who's the best in there and whatever. It is what it is. And I think a lot of Lobo fan that I've talked through has been going through the cycle. At some point, they just had to come to grips with it. And then they kind of got too fine, man. You don't want to be here, don't be here. Go ahead, go do your thing. And they were cool with that. And I don't know. I mean, you almost have to get there. You know what I mean? You almost have to feel that way because you'll drive yourself nuts. There's no other way to feel, right? You can be bummed, and it's look, there he is, and he's in, but there's no other way to feel because the reality is the reality.
Yeah, this is one. There's not a lot of spin to put on it. You can talk about the frustration of the new era, the challenges of being a fan in college athletics. But here's the thing. You have still, in colleges in so many different places, they're not professional sports. You have a unique connection with all these fan bases, whether you're an alumni, something that you grew up with your entire life. And for the schools themselves, the athletic departments, you hope you can keep reaching out to those fans and build that sense of community there with understanding that when it comes to the student athletes in your marquee sports, the stories are just going to be a lot different than they used to be. It's not going to be the 3-4 year guys. It's going to be dudes here 2 years. Wow, that's quite a run.
Yeah, and 2 is going to be quite a run. I mean, it just is going to be year to year. All right, well, let me open up phones at 505, or I'm not going to do it because, well, I don't do anything. 505-246-0610 is how to get to us today. That's the text line. That is the Sports Animal phone line. 505-246-0610. Your emails come in this morning. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ's on the X. And _ JJ Buck. We're on the Facebook. The OD in the AM. You can watch the show there. It's live every day. Adrian produces on ProView Networks, on their YouTube channel, and on Comcast Channel 26 throughout the state of New Mexico. So you can catch it, and I know a lot of you watch the show because I get, where are you now? What hotel is that? What do you wear? Why are you wearing a sports coat today? Why are you wearing a T-shirt today? Get all that stuff. What are you wearing? A little freaky. All right, you watched the hoops last night? I watched the hockey last night. I watched the Kings get eliminated last night. 4-3 by Edmonton.
I watched both last night.
Yeah, it felt a little inevitable to me. It was a sequence in the second period where power plays and power play and penalty, and Edmonton took advantage and the Kings didn't, and so Edmonton eliminates the Kings 4-1. Dallas beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights, take a 3-2 lead in that series. And a lot of you watch the hoops. Went very intriguing last night. I mean, like one game was 32 points and the other game was 30 last night. It wasn't.
Yeah, the Dallas LA one. Well, even the wild swings we've seen in that series, it's shocking to me when one team is just that bad early.
And LA was. The Clippers were. They were down 25-24 at halftime, and then it got open, or in the first quarter, then it got opened up, and they got beat by a final score of 123-93. Dallas takes a 3-2 lead going back to Texas with that. Luka Doncic, 35.7 rebounds, 10 assists. He's got illness. He's got injury. The Clippers never threatened. And, I listened to how they're better without Kawhi Leonard. Oh, look, they keep winning without Kawhi. They're not better without Kawhi Leonard. They're not. You'll never convince me a team's better without their best player. And he is their best player when he's healthy. Now, are they better without an injured Kawhi Leonard? We could have that conversation. Paul George last night was 4 of 13 from the field, 15 points. James Harden, 7 points after that spectacular performance in Texas. He went 2 for 12. So they combined to go 6 for 25, 3 for 13 for three-point land, and that's why they got beat.
Yeah, and if there's players you're going to trust in the series, I trust Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving to be on more times than I do Paul George and James Harden. The Kawhi Leonard one now is, you can keep saying he's their best player. He's never available when they need him. And he hasn't had an impactful postseason since 2019.
Yeah, and certainly not with the Clippers. Never with the Clippers.
No. Never. No. And it's incredibly frustrating because we know the level he can play at. He could be, a defensive stopper. What I want to see Kawhi Leonard play Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
I want to see what he could try to do to slow down the 1B when it comes to offensive weapons in the NBA, potentially 1A. I think Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic is a fascinating conversation to who's the most dangerous player with the basketball in their hands on a basketball court. And last night, you see why.
In his prime, and I don't know if he's through his prime. I mean, he's not an old man, for crying out loud. He's still a young man, is Kawhi Leonard. But in his prime, he was the guy like Michael Cooper to Larry Bird was Kawhi Leonard to LeBron James. Didn't stop him, but was the best defender on him, right?
Yeah, but he is past his prime.
How old is he?
Kawhi Leonard is 32 years old.
Yeah, he should be in it. He should be in it.
But since he had that quad injury, now the knee injury, like what he was able to do, being a 2-time NBA Finals MVP, the run with the Spurs, like he's been at it for a while now. And the expectations with Kawhi Leonard are that dude is going to be third wheel now, wherever he is, because you can't trust his body to be in position to play meaningful basketball games.
And at $45.5 million this year and even more next year, I don't know what you do. I asked you the question the other day, is he a Hall of Famer? Did he have the longevity? Let's just say he doesn't do much more. Now, he might. Are his credentials already with the 2 rings Hall of Fame?
Yes.
I think so, too. Right? But I look around, I mean, God, we throw Hall of Fame around so easily right now.
I think it will open. He'll be one of those guys that you think will get in. There might be a little bit more debate. But we look at, he's a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year twice, 3-time All-NBA first team. Like his prime.
That's Hall of Fame.
Like we were talking about him as one of the best 3 players in the world.
That's right. It was LeBron and Durant and him for a minute. Yeah. And he went out and he won with a franchise that has done nothing before and nothing since, correct? In Toronto? He was sent up
correct.
there to Siberia. He pissed off the Spurs. He got out of favor with Popovich. He pouted or whatever happened there. And they said, we'll show you. We'll send you to Siberia. So they sent him to Canada.
2010 Mountain West Conference Tournament MVP.
That's right.
It is the Basketball Hall of Fame, not NBA Hall of Fame.
It's the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. That's correct. So it's the same one where women's basketball, international basketball is in there as well. I look around, like if I looked around the league right now, there's a lot of dudes we say are surefire Hall of Famers right now, right? I mean, Luka, Kyrie Irving, Steph, Clay, obviously LeBron. I think Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant. I'm not sure. I think Bradley Beal and or Devin Booker yet. I was going to waffle on one, and I forgot. I just skipped over it to leave it alone. Anyway, certainly Jokic.
I think Booker is one of those guys that you're going to be waffling on down the line.
All right. And we'll see, right? Jokic. I mean, it's too early to say, some of these, Wemby and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards. I mean, I think he's on his way. Jason Tatum. Certainly Joel Embiid. Harden, right? Harden's a Hall of Famer.
See, Embiid to me is not a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Hall of Fame talent.
Antetokounmpo, Dame Lillard. I mean, that's like 15 dudes right now that you just go, yeah, probably. And that didn't include Wembanyama, Anthony Edwards, some of the young guns that are coming up, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Because I think there's a difference. Like, we look at Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
It's like he can be one of the best players in the world at times.
Do you have to win a championship?
He's not going to have even the amount of games played that's required to think that dude can be a Hall of Famer.
That's interesting. Charles is in, right? Barkley? Malone's in, right? Stockton's in.
When you got games played, they're going to lap Joel Embiid.
Yeah, fair enough. So you don't think Embiid's a given?
No.
Okay.
You got to be on the basketball court.
Okay.
Like, this one, he's grinding through it in the playoffs. But there's a lot of years where that dude wasn't on the floor that much.
No doubt. But that's Kawhi's deal, too. Kawhi won 2 championships.
But Kawhi had that pretty much 9-10-year run.
Where he played.
2011, 2019.
Yeah. He was the face of load management for a minute, wasn't he? Isn't that kind of where it all started with Pop and him in San Antonio? That's kind of where this whole thing launched. I don't know.
It was, because it was towards the end of that Spurs era when you realize we don't need to be running out Duncan and Parker and Ginobili every single night.
Yeah.
You're trying to focus on the postseason.
Yeah, that's where the whole thing began. All right, the other one last night, Celtics beat Miami, closed out that series 118-84. Jaylen Brown, Derek White each had 25 points for the Celtics, who just rolled a dismembered Miami Heat team. No Jimmy Butler. Last year was cute. Last year was fun. It wasn't even cute. Last year was fun. Watching the Heat culture and watching them get all the way to the finals. Celtics were having none of that. Celtics were the best team in the league this year. Celtics were way better than Miami. Miami took one game from them, scared them a little bit. Celtics move on. I mean, I don't know what more to say other than the better team really, really handled the team that wasn't better.
The thing to say is the Boston Celtics, even with the injury to Kristaps Porzingis, have a golden road to the Eastern Conference Finals. Have no excuse not to be representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals.
Because next up they get the Orlando Cleveland. Right? Cleveland's up 3-2, and they'll play. I think they play that one tonight. All right, 505-246-0610. I'll ask you the question. Yeah, I mean, you can get in on that. We'll hang that out there today. Kawhi Leonard, Hall of Fame already? No? Yes? Hey, JJ read you the list of credentials. It's pretty damn impressive. Should he already be in? We got other NBA stuff, too. I don't know why they put out the 2-minute report just to embarrass themselves, but they do. There's Phoenix Suns news. And when we come back, Jeff Grammer did a good dive. And freshman of the year in the Mountain West. How do they fare? What do they typically do? And maybe, I don't know if it'll make you feel better, but it'll certainly show you that JT Topping leaving UNM is part of a trend. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Sound.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
What's going on? Who are you guys?
Well, sir, I'm going to pick you up at the DWI checkpoint for drunk driving.
And that's when I have to come down to get you out of jail.
Well, temporarily. I'm Judge Torres.
They call him the Hammer. Hey, hot off the presses, champ.
I'm real proud of you, honey.
Way to make them happy back home, Captain.
Who's that?
That's your new buddy in jail.
I'm going out, Grandma.
When are you coming home?
I'll be home late. Don't wait up, okay?
Be careful, mijito.
Love you, Grandma.
Mijito. He's a good man. Sometimes he just makes bad decisions. I tell him, mijito, cuidado. Be careful. You might hurt someone. He doesn't listen.
Until you stop, okay?
Hello.
It's me.
Hi, mijo. Where are you?
Dale was drinking and driving. I need you to come and get me, okay? Please, Grandma? Can you just come and get me? Grandma?
Leave him in jail.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone.
It's closed. Now we'll watch what guys go. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. You'll hear over the next few days, weeks, months, who Lobos are signing or bringing in, bigs, guards, whatever it is. We'll hear where JT Toppin goes. So Athletics got him rated 22nd in their portal rankings. I mean, did you look at some of the rankings where they got guys? Like they got when you watch Robbie Avila, the guy from Indiana State. Do you think Toppin's better than Robbie Avila? That was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That was
no
Larry Nerd. You thought Larry Nerd was better?
Yes.
Okay. He's ranked third.
But that's also
Avila is.
Avila is a 4-year player.
Yeah. He's. I think he's going to be a senior. He committed. He followed his coach over to St. Louis. Yeah. The top 3 guys that already committed. According again, the Athletics rankings. Everybody's got their own ranking, right? Everybody's. I mean, it's amazing how many rankings there are out there in tracking and keeping track of the portal's work. Like honestly, it's work.
And I was doing some of that yesterday, just for women's basketball.
Yeah. What'd you find?
Going through the Mountain West Conference, and it was like a page and a half of notes. I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
A lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, there is. Jeff Grammer did a little research, put this on his Twitter yesterday, or his X. It's in response to JT Toppin going into the portal. And I guess my point on bringing this up is not to make you feel better, because it won't, but it's not a surprise. So in the past decade, so since 2015, the player who has won Mountain West Freshman of the Year only 3 times finished his collegiate career at that school, 3 out of 10. And they either, 3 times either transferred or turned pro immediately. They transferred 5 times immediately after winning. I looked through some of the names, man, and some of them I totally forgot about, and some of them I went, oh yeah. So the guys who finished their careers there, I mean, 2 of them. You got to go deep on Isaiah Stevens, man. He's been there forever. But Isaiah Stevens at Colorado State in 2020, and Tyson Degenhardt at Boise State in 2022. They both just finished their careers at those schools. And then Jeremy Hemsley in 2016 from San Diego State. After that, JJ, you go down the list. It was in 2015, Rashad Vaughn from UNLV turned pro right after. 2017, I don't even remember Kobe McEwen. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, I don't. But he transferred to Marquette after his second year.
Shooting guard / slasher.
Okay. Brandon McCoy at UNLV in 2018 turned pro after his first season. Did he play in the NBA?
Nothing memorable.
Okay. Boy, I remember Namus Keita at Utah State. Big guy, turned pro after his 3rd season. I don't know where he is.
He was with the Celtics.
Okay. He was terrific in this league. He was terrific. But he didn't finish he didn't play out his career.
But he spent 3 years at Utah State.
Yeah. Isaiah Stevens and Marcus Williams in 2021 from Wyoming transferred to Texas A&M, then transferred to San Francisco. 2023, Darian Williams from Nevada transferred immediately to Texas Tech, and then JT Toppin. So get used to it in this league, and I think you are. Uncomfortably used to it, grudgingly used to it, but used to it nonetheless, right? It's the way it's going to be. If Wyoming's got that great guy next year, if Colorado State does, you're going to be going, all right, where's he transferred? It's kind of the way it is.
It is. It's the battle that you're in, not just trying to retain your players, but then the understanding of, all right, where are you going? What route do you want to take? And I think what you are seeing is you're trying to find that balance. Can you find those potentially overlooked players that can come in and compete, plus have those guys that can play right away. And it's a challenge, but it's the way you have to construct your rosters in college athletics.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, and I don't know the answer. I kind of feel maybe one way, but after a season ends, so whenever a basketball team's season ends, at whatever conference basketball tournament it is, whether it's in Vegas or St. Louis or Kansas City or wherever, right? Every one of us is thinking about, all right, how are you going to retain your players, right? Is it a fair question for a reporter to ask at that point? The coach has been thinking about it, but the coaches, the players are all hurt and their season just ended, unless they're one of the 68 or going to the tournament. And then it could end there. Is it a fair question when you get knocked out of the NCAA tournament or knocked out of your conference tournament to ask right away about the transfer portal? Because we're all thinking it. And
Yes.
I try to put myself in the coach's position, and I'm like, man, I just got beat. I just got knocked out. My season just ended. Yeah, I've been thinking about it, but, man, that's not what I want to talk about right now. But
You don't have an answer for it at that point, though.
you may not, and certainly you're not offering it. But that's what every one of your fans are thinking, right? And I know Richard was asked that, and he's, I thought Richard, I think he handles questions very, very well, right? He's really good at it, and he'll give you an answer whether it's what you want to hear or not. And I think, didn't he say something like, yeah, I mean, they're all free agents, they're all 1-year deals, something along those lines, right?
Wasn't that really all you can say at that point?
100%. But a lot of coaches will just go, yeah, I haven't thought about it yet, or whatever.
Of course they've thought about it.
Of course they have.
Might not have been thinking about it in that exact moment.
But is it
They're
a
always
fair
thinking about it.
question at that point?
It's a fair question. I don't know what answer you're looking for. Like, other than that, it's like, yeah, they're all free agents now. We'll see what happens.
Well, you're looking for a nugget. I guess maybe there'll be a coach that says, no, I know he's leaving, or no, we plan on those guys staying.
You can't say that.
It's got to be asked, right? But it has to be asked.
No, it has to be asked, but you don't have an answer to it. It's JT Top, and I know there were a lot of people like, well, I expected this anyway. But when you get 2 days out from the transfer portal deadline, I think that expectation for a lot of fans went away that he was going to enter the transfer portal. And there was, I believe it was Charlotte, like over the weekend, Charlotte men's basketball put out a post of their starting backcourt, like, we're running it back. And like a day and a half later, one of those dudes entered the transfer portal.
Peace.
So there's not an answer to that question until 11:59 p.m. local time on May 1st.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at how many dudes went in yesterday on the last day of the portal, I mean, I'm looking at 2 dudes. I mean, Chicago State lost 2 guys. Georgia lost a guy. Minnesota lost Cameron Christie, 4-star guy. I mean, there's a lot of stars next to some of these names, too. And I don't know what that means half the time anyway. I honestly, I don't. The day before, I mean, Illinois lost a guy. USD lost a guy. Louisville. Central Michigan. Coastal Carolina. I mean, everybody's losing them. I was just thinking, we got on the tarmac yesterday on the plane coming back and rolled out. I'm like, all right, good. We're going to be home on time. And sat on the tarmac. And then the guy came on and said, we got an electrical issue. We're going to go back to the gate. And I'm like, oh. And sat there for another hour. So I had a lot of time to listen to music and things. And for some reason, that just went through my mind. So, all right, 505-246-0610. Have you come to grips with it? Are you feeling better about the portal and now go out and make your team better? Have you started going through the steps? Gopher says, I don't recall of all the problems the NCAA has, guys sitting out a year when transferring was high on the list. So I'm not sure why we had to fix a non-issue. Gopher, I'll tell you again. It might not have been a problem for you or the NCAA. It was a problem for the student athletes. And when it got litigious and they started losing in court, that's where you had to fix this quote-unquote to you non-issue.
It was a problem. when you do take a step back and look at it and say you lose an year of eligibility, because there's a lot more factors that go into it than just being upset about a coach, this or that. Like, you're making a decision as a 17-year-old, maybe that's not the perfect decision. And so you have to go sit out somewhere a year, but then everyone else, and I'm not talking about regular students, but your head coach, the assistant coaches, can bounce around and try to continue their career. And you had to sit. Mm-hmm. But now where it's that much more frustrating is you could legit go 4 places in 4 years.
Swung the other way.
Yes.
Yeah, it might,
big
like I said, it might have been a non-issue to some, but obviously the people who it affected, it was a huge issue. And you start losing in court, it becomes a huger issue. And then you have to fix this non-issue. 505-246-0610. So should a coach be on social media clapping back at a former player for not being good enough? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Brought to you by New Balance.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot! Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet? Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Bryant thing still, 4 years plus later, still raw to so many people. Today would have been Gianna Bryant, Gigi, 18th birthday. Didn't UConn offer her a scholarship like 5 years ago? Didn't Gino Auriemma offer? I saw on the X a UConn Huskies #2 jersey with her name on the back. But yeah, she Kobe Bryant's daughter would have been 18 years old today. Of course, that one's still raw, man. You know, there's so many tragedies and so many players people have passed away and died young. Every time one of those anniversaries or one of those Kobe stories comes up, and maybe not for you, but certainly, you know, for me, it just hits like, whoa, it still stops me in my tracks sometimes. That one hit for you still like that? Or is that, yeah, it happened.
Yeah, it's when you have as many, memories of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And just knowing the families that were involved in losing a child like that, it's terrible.
I think the daughter thing, right? Because she is literally Addie's age, right? I mean, my daughter turns 18 in 10 days. I mean, literally, I remember how tight I held my little girl that day. Like, wow. So, yeah. All right. Speaking of father and child, University of Colorado's head football coach Deion Sanders is clapping back. So Deion's not shy. I think we know that. Deion's got a lot to say. And I know there are people who will support Deion no matter what he says, and there will people who will attack Deion no matter what he says or does. Buffaloes were 3-0. They were the talk of the sports world, not just the college football world, back in September of last year. They finished 1-8 to go 4-8 on the season. And there's a player that used to be on their team. His name is Xavier Smith. He spoke to The Athletic. He is one of the guys, JJ, remember when, I think everybody does, when Deion first took over there, he went through and talked about he's bringing his luggage, and it's Louis, and ran 50-something guys into the portal. Basically tried to well, not try. He ran them off, right? With no shame, nor should he have shame. No apologies, nor did he need to apology. The team was 1-11 before, and he came in and said, we're getting better, and we're bringing in new guys, and y'all need to go. Y'all need to get in the portal. So the player, Xavier Smith, has been speaking to The Athletic regarding his decision to transfer, and he said that Deion Sanders, quote, never tried to get to know me, was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves, and went on and told his side of the story that, how he felt about it. So Shedeur Sanders, who is Deion's son and the quarterback of Colorado, went on the offensive and defended his dad, and he went on X and posted that he doesn't remember Xavier Smith, so he must have been, quote, very mid at best, end quote. So they went back and forth on social media, and Colorado's receiver, Caleb Mathis, posted a video himself beating the former player in practice. And so Smith, who transferred to Austin Peay and was a division or an FCS All-American, right? He was really good at Austin Peay. One of his teammates there, a guy named Jaheim Ward, pointed out that the guy posted the video only had 38 receiving yards. So then Deion came on and posted that player's stats. And law of Jesus is what he said. And does Deion need to be doing this?
No, this is when Deion was coming in and he was embracing the new style, the new era. It was about player empowerment and branding. Now this is just petty. This looks terrible. There's no way to spin this like, oh, Deion's just doing it different. No, Deion is outright beefing with college kids on social media and looks petty. And this does nothing positive for the CU brand. This does nothing positive for the student athlete. This one is, you're just out over your skis, man.
Feels that way to me. And I didn't know if I was just old man, get off my lawn. You know, what are you doing? There was another guy on that thread, another social media account that criticized Deion, kind of said what you're saying, right? That, what are you doing, man? Well, more so criticized Shedeur for attacking Smith and said, look, man, you were 4-8. Like, who are you attacking? And Deion went on that guy and said, he'll be a top 5 pick. Where your son going? LOLOL. I got time today. LOLOL. So basically, I got nothing to do but come on the Twitter and attack fools who are coming out. And I get it, man. You want to defend yourself, and Deion's got every right to defend himself. And if he feels that the story was erroneous, that Xavier Smith is just talking some bull junk to the Athletic, and that's not how it was, and he wants to defend he's got the right to defend himself. But to start putting up stats and clowning on a guy that you felt wasn't good enough, and his stats were a joke because they were at an FCS school, which, by the way, you coached at an HBCU school, which was not Division I before, and loved all the stats that you were putting up there, and that's what got you paid. I just don't understand what Deion gets out of going on social media and having a Twitter or an X feud with a former player.
Deion is in LeVar Ball territory now, where he's going to do more harm than good. And
for his kids?
Absolutely. And this is one, too. If you're CU, you're in the headlines, but even I think the administration should get to a point where, like, this isn't, the positive branding, the player empowerment. There's still that dose of reality, which everyone understands. And when he's bringing his luggage and the challenge to the players, like, this is well past that. This is what fans do on social media. This is what people clown athletes when they get sucked into this stuff. And it's your head coach of a Division I football team. And to me, this is actually going to hurt Shedeur Sanders a lot when NFL teams start evaluating him as a quarterback. And I think what you're going to see is once you remove Deion from the situation, then Shedeur Sanders can figure out his life. Because Lonzo Ball and LaMelo Ball sure have been different figures when they aren't directly associated with everything LeVar Ball was saying.
I haven't heard a thing about LeVar. And I've watched his kids thrive. Meanwhile, they've had a big turnover again. So 23 of the guys that Deion Sanders brought in 2023, so last year when he brought in all those new guys, 61% of them are gone. Now, they've added 6 players. They've got 34 transfers coming in already this year. Look, nobody's going to use the portal like he has. Buffalo's have seen 24 players enter the transfer portal since it opened in April. Of those 26, all but 10 of them arrived previously at Colorado as a transfer. So, look, bottom line is, yeah, they went, and a lot of them are walking out the door again. Whether he wants, again, it could be Deion telling them, man, you got to go, or they're like, this isn't for me. But 61% of last year's class is transferred. Got to take this break. We'll hit the phones when we come back. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Hour.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school.
43% entered the portal during the winter or the spring. And 10 members of the high school class, or 21 players in last year's high school class, so 47.6% are already in the portal. And they'll replace their whole offensive line, which, by the way, they needed to. So they may get better, and when you're 1-11 and 4-8, you got to get better. So I'm just reading you numbers, and those are facts. Jeffrey, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you guys doing?
Good. How you living?
I don't think anything good comes from a head coach who's in a large position of power arguing with a student athlete. First of all, would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I'm Colorado leadership, I immediately go to Deion and say, cut the crap out. Don't do that. I mean, because there's nothing good that's going to come of this, especially if other kids start chiming in and talking negatively about Deion or possible, mistreatment or whatever. And so I think if I'm Colorado leadership, I step in and intervene and say, yeah, you're a grown man. Don't engage. Secondly, I don't know. I'm not this believer in Deion. I like his talk about, developing young men, like having a nice dress code, no sagging pants, keep your shirts tucked in. But then he goes and does something like this, and it's kind of anti that. So like I said, I think if I'm Colorado leadership and I'm hearing about this, I immediately step in and say, stop. I don't think Deion's going to be this great coach, and I think he's either going to flame out really, really hard or just probably be mediocre his entire time there. So, what they say is when you win, say little, or when you lose, say little. When you win, say less. This is a time for him to say less.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Jeff. Thanks. I don't know that a public Twitter feud with a former student athlete. Now this was not with the former student athlete. This was with another guy. But why am I ripping on a guy that left my program? Well, because he's ripping on me. Come on, man. You've just got to be above it. And if someone asks you for a comment, that was his perception.
Yeah, this one looks so bad, and there's still a lot of people trying to defend it, saying, people just attacking Deion Sanders because they don't like what he does. They don't want him to succeed. No, this is not building up student athletes. This is not building your brand. This is petty social media stuff that everyone gets into, and you don't want to see your head coach of a Division I football team get into that mess. Especially your quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, what you're saying. He's going to be a top 5 pick. He's going to be a number 1 overall pick. And guess what? He's going to answer those questions when he sits down with NFL teams. What kind of dude are you going to be in the locker room? What kind of leader are you going to be? You call him dudes out on X after they have a bad game, you have a bad game?
Look, Deion made his brand on being brash, and now he backed it up on the field. Deion's as good at his position as we've ever seen in pro football, right? He's been a successful coach. He won at the HBCU level. You can tell me he was 4-8 last year, and you're right. And I will tell you that's a success because that program was 1-11 the year before. And by the way, they got more attention last year than they did in the last 25 years combined. I mean, that program. Am I wrong?
No, but this isn't the attention you want.
I agree with that.
Like Deion and CU can get attention without their head coach trying to clown people on social media.
Do you think, to Jeffrey, the caller's point, do you think there's anybody in the administration at the University of Colorado? Or is it, okay, they call themselves University of Colorado, but they go by CU. Right? It's not Colorado University. It's the University of Colorado, but they go by CU, right? That's one that's always screwed me up. Anyway, do you think there's anybody at the administration at the University of Colorado who is in the position or has how does that conversation go? Because it feels to me like Deion has the clout and runs that place. Does the athletic director go down to his office and say, hey, I need you? Nope, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, okay. All right. I mean, is there someone there that's got the clout over Deion? Most places your boss can tell you, hey, back down, don't attack players, stop engaging players on Twitter. Who do you think the president, the athletic, do you think anybody there? I think they're scared to death that to agitate him at all because he may leave. That's just the impression I get from what's going on there. Now, I don't know anything inside there. I saw a lot of coaches this week. I didn't see Deion. I heard at last year's spring meetings, he kind of showed up for a minute with a bunch of people and graced their event for about 10 minutes and bounced. I did not see him. I was they're a Big 12 team, right?
Yes, they are.
I was at the Big 12 event 2 nights ago. Now, just because I didn't see him doesn't mean he wasn't there, but it wasn't a huge event like I would have missed him. No, he didn't have to be there. I saw a lot of the coaches, but he didn't have to be. My point is, I kind of feel like he's on a different level, man. I mean, he's a superstar. Coaches are stars, but this guy, like people tell me all the time, there's a difference between superstars and like he's a different cat, right? Who's on his level in that league? The Big 12. Oklahoma and Texas are gone.
No one.
I mean, not even close, right? In fact, I don't know if you can name me 4 other coaches in that league right now. I appreciate what Jeffrey said. I just don't know who in that administration is going to go up and say, "Hey, Dion, you need to come to my office." First of all, I got to go to Dion's place. I need you to stop chasing kids down on Twitter. Or what? Work with me on this. 505-246-0610. How do you feel about adding another game to the NFL schedule? Serious talk about that. You might like it. Does everybody? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
What's
going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
What do you think of 18 games of the National Football League? It's another week, man. Another week to play fantasy football and bet. Watch, sit on your tuchus. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Good morning to you. The phone lines are open at 505-246-0610. Emails come in this morning. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com and JJ at sportsanimалabq.com, and they are doing that, and I'll get to them. Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the National Football League. More football means more money, right?
Money.
Was it 2 years ago they expanded to 17 games? I think it was 2 years ago. Goodell's talking about the possibility of moving the Super Bowl to President's Day weekend, which I don't hate because it means Monday's off for many of us. That'll help build support for an 18th game. But what about the players? What if the NFL Players Association insists on a second bye week? That would require the season to start on Labor Day week for it to fit into that window to end before President's Day. Is more better? I don't have a problem with starting on Labor Day weekend. Traditionally, that's been the opening of college football, and now there's 0 week. So you usually get 0 week, then the first week, it trickles that, right? You get 6-8 games on 0 week. Lobos will play 0 week this year. Then you get that first full week of college football. It's on Labor Day weekend. And then the NFL starts the next week, and we go. I have no problem with Super Bowl weekend being President's Day.
18 games with 2 bye weeks seems like something they could agree on and get past with the Players Association and everything that goes in adding games.
I think that would be right. If they're gonna go to the 18 game schedule, I think adding a second.
And at this point, the NFL doesn't care when they start, what weekend they're playing on,
what day of the week they play
what
on.
day of the week they're playing on. Like, they're playing Wednesday games next year. It's because of Christmas. Like, they don't care. They will dominate. Whatever day, week, weekend, they will dominate. Get out of my way.
Right. I think this is where it's going to end up. Don't you at 18? And they'll back it up and they'll play. I mean, if that's your compromise to get your extra game, by the way, you're getting 2 extra weeks of football because you're adding the extra game week and an extra bye week. And so it's really going to run, 20 weeks, right?
Yeah, 20 weeks. And then it might push this part of the calendar back a little bit, but they're fine because they can dominate the news cycle that much longer, already being the number one talking point for most people year round. You adjust the dates a little bit, scouting combine, draft, free agency, all those things move, and you just get a bigger window of the sports calendar that you dominate.
But JJ, player safety. What about player safety? No?
You can wear the Guardian caps in games now.
They are, if they want to, they can. The linemen can, right? Are they going to decorate them or to the team's helmet decoration?
Probably sure. they wear them in a game, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I'm gonna imagine they would. I think this is where it goes. I think the players, but again, salaries will go up. If you want me to play another game after playing another game, and I'm not telling you that they shouldn't ask for more, you should get more money. I remember when this show went from 2 hours to 3, I'm like, well, so we get more? And they're like, yeah, no. Good job. But if you're asked to work an extra day a week or an extra, right, you ask to get compensated, don't you? Players' salaries would then go up. But I think, we'd all lose our mind. Oh, my goodness, he's $60 million a year at quarterback. The money would be there, generated from another week of television, another week of ticket sales, right? Everybody would then get 9 home games. Would they do just 2 preseason games?
Yeah, you'd cut back on one of those games.
And I think the preseason games, and while we all realize what the preseason games are, they are opportunities for lower draft picks and undrafted players to find ways onto a roster to make a team, to make a living. Did you see the story where the Falcons tried to trade back into the top 10? So they got Michael Penix, and then they tried to trade back in. They tried to make some moves, and do some other stuff. Are you getting settled now? The more I think about it, the more I listen to the Falcons, I will never probably get to the point where I think it was the right pick, but I'm getting more and more comfortable with it being fine for the franchise, and not necessarily for the player, but for the franchise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the most impactful position. If you get that right, what Atlanta is trying to spin is say, hey, we think we can win for 2 years with Kirk Cousins and then add Michael Penix in the mix and pick up where he left off. But, they're trying to base their model on something that, when you look at Green Bay, they were winning at a much higher level. Now, the Falcons have pretty much been stable at 7 wins for the last few years. They had a 4-12 season there. Other than that, they're winning 7 games. So they feel that they're not far off from being a double-digit win football team. That was the reason you give Kirk Cousins $90 million guaranteed, even coming off an Achilles injury, to be your quarterback. So this is one of those conversations where I'm with you. I can rationalize it. I can see how you're playing the long game, but I can also understand how, you look and said, all right, if you liked Michael Penix that much, you don't think he's going to be ready now, but he will be in 2 years. That's just a hard thing for me.
Well, you might even think he's ready
now. If he's ready now, he could have been your starting quarterback now.
Yeah, but you got the other guy, right? I
mean, you didn't have to sign the other guy.
Yeah, but you didn't know you were getting. Well, you knew you probably could have got Michael Penix there. Yeah. And with the other guy, there is no. You know what I mean? You don't know. There's nothing about that you know. But I'm getting to the point where I'm closer to being okay with it, where I at least can justify it. Like, I think that they could have addressed other needs. I thought that they had other things they could have done that would have helped them get over the top now. And we talk all the time about, I don't care about later, the Rams t-shirts, bleep those picks, right? How teams, if you see a window, boy, those windows close quick. I mean, injuries help those windows close. That's the Cincinnati Bengals, right? And I don't know if their windows closed, but they didn't make the playoffs. I would have rather seen them go do something else, but I'm starting to get to a point where I can justify it. Zeke Elliott back with the Cowboys. How's a Cowboy fan feeling about this? Where are you? They released him last year. He always said he wanted to return. 7 years of his career. So he said, that was my priority, doing what I could to get back. I have a lot left to accomplish here. I'm excited to get back with the fellas and chase that ring. End quote. 28 years old. Career low 642 yards and 3 touchdowns last year in New England. Caught 51 passes, 2 touchdowns. He's going to compete for the number 1 running back job. I don't know that he's still that guy. And I don't even think I know. I almost think I know that he's not.
Well, it's not about a number one running back.
But it kind of sounds like it is.
It's about a committee, and Dallas has talked about that. He wants to prove something.
Okay.
Which is, okay, go out there and prove it. It's going to be a committee. Tops maybe 200 carries for Ezekiel Elliott. But it's going to be one where the backup running back pops off some big runs, has a yards per carry average that is more than Zeke, and so the fans are going to start clamoring that dude needs to play more than Ezekiel Elliott.
Aren't you really surprised that they didn't get a running back? I mean, someone, free agency, draft a running back. Aren't you just like, they didn't find a running back that they liked somewhere to bring in? And I guess they like Dowdle and these guys better. But I was really surprised that they didn't go out and get something to bring in.
They did.
Who?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. No, yeah, fair enough.
Like, when they're not paying CeeDee Lamb,
yeah,
they're not paying Michael Parsons,
they're not paying Zeke Elliott.
They're not. Yeah, he's cheap.
Yeah,
that's why they got Zeke.
Yep. The other thing they're not doing is exercise the 5th-year option on Trey Lance's contract. That quarterback that they acquired from the 49ers in August for a 4th-round pick will not have his 5th-year option. I can't even believe he's on his 5th year. I mean, we've seen so little of him, and then there's a reason. So the quarterbacks drafted in the first round of 2021. That was Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, right? Only Trevor Lawrence had his 5th-year option exercise. We thought that was a pretty good class, didn't we?
And one of those other guys is backing up Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones.
And he didn't have. So we thought that was a pretty good class, right? Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. I mean, 5 dudes went in the first, 16 picks that year? Sounds like now, doesn't it?
Yes.
And only one of them. And so to clarify, to pick up the 5th-year option means you don't have to give them the big money for one more year. But you have to decide before the 4th year. And only Trevor Lawrence's have that option exercise. It just shows you, man, we just don't know. Where are we going to be in 4 years with this class? We think all these guys are going to be good. Oh, Penix is going to be good. Bo Nix, well, we hope is going to be good. But I know Caleb Williams is going to be good, and I know Jaden Daniels will be good. J.J. McCarthy is going to be great. He's a franchise saver. But let me tell you something. We don't know.
I like 3 of them to be successful.
I know you like Caleb Williams.
It's one of the... And I think the wild card comes down to Penix and McCarthy.
When are we going to know about Penix?
And in 4 years?
Yeah, when it's time. When it's time to exercise that option. Yeah, it's nuts. What about Atlanta? Where are they at quarterback? I'll tell you that. New England's got a competition that they're opening up as well. 505-246-0610. International Protective Service is taking security to a whole new level, like literally a whole new level. So for 18 years, IPS offered standing guards or 24-hour patrols to protect homes and businesses in Albuquerque. They recently launched in Santa Fe, but now IPS Global Aviation is using a fleet of drones with high-definition cameras. They also use analytics software to exceed your security expectations. So with the drones, the IPS can monitor your next event, or they can track emergency response. They'll follow criminal activity that you can't see as well from the ground. The drones include thermal imaging, so IPS can help with eyes in the sky during wildfire season. It's unmatched ability to watch from the air. On the ground, IPS continues to use highly trained, armed officers to watch homes and businesses. That means a lot to those of you who own homes and businesses. Kind of like me, they watch my home. They install cameras. They monitor them around the clock to deter criminal activity around your property, even offer personal bodyguards if there's a threat to your safety. So if you've got a safety issue, IPS has you covered. 505-897-2420 is their number. 505-897-2420. They're at ipsglobal.com. IPS is passionate about making Albuquerque a better and safer place to live and work.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Asking shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom. Boom.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them, gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Murcia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
To that, you did commit a guaranteed $90 million to Kirk Cousins. You did go all in on that guy who's 35 years old and coming off an Achilles injury. And so, can they both be true? Yeah. But is Penix a great decision based on what you did with Kirk Cousins?
And that's where people are scratching their head. If you felt you needed insurance, if you feel, hey, man, the future is important, then why don't you just draft that future and get a much cheaper bridge quarterback? Like that.
If you even needed a bridge quarterback, right? So you could have signed Gardner Minshew or hell, Zach Wilson or
like in any of the. Well,
yeah, probably not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not that. But Jacoby Brissett, right? Mm-hmm. And is
because we talk so much about quarterbacks on rookie deals and how that opens up everything for your franchise and ability to go quote unquote all in on other positions. Well, now you have $90 million tied up, plus a rookie quarterback contract isn't exactly cheap. It's manageable.
Especially, at 10.
And if he is sitting there for 2 years.
I know.
The unknown of what that is. Like, it's one where, as you laid out, you can talk yourself into, yeah, you want security at the quarterback position. But this is the unknowns. To me, I think I'd feel a little different if Kirk Cousins wasn't coming off an Achilles injury.
You'd feel tremendously different. Because you'd be Kirk Cousins. You'd know what you're getting. You're getting a 35-year-old dude coming off an Achilles injury. We've never seen a guy come back from that injury and be the same, let alone a 35, or in Rodgers' case, a 40-year-old dude. Both of them are trying to do that.
Which would make this selection worse. But because Kirk did have the Achilles injury, like, okay, you're backing yourself up. But then I still just go back to give the dude $90 million. That's not, you're not getting that money back.
I know. That's where.
And how does that set up Michael Penix for success?
Well, the only way it does, and this is a really interesting conversation that we might or might not have. If Kirk Cousins is not ready to go at the beginning of the year, now they claim he is, but there's a real chance he's not. Does Michael Penix get the start? The answer would be probably yes, right? What if they start out 4-1, 3-2,
is that a situation where, like, as wild as it sounds, you're like, well, I kind of hope he's not good early, and then we can have Kirk Cousins go back out there, and it'll be
paying this dude $90 million.
It'll be like Tua's first year in Miami when, like, Ryan Fitzpatrick was coming in and like closed football games and playing in fourth quarter.
I mean, and had that work out. It was horrible. Well, let me just run the scenario by you. So let's say Kirk Cousins isn't ready to go for the first 6 weeks. And Michael Penix goes 4-2 and looks pretty good. Not great. He looks good. He's, I don't know. He looks like, let's just say he looks like Jordan Love. What do you do?
If it's second half of the season, Jordan Love, that's your starting quarterback.
Okay. And so is it possible that Kirk Cousins doesn't start a game this year? I got a $45 million a year backup.
It's on the table.
Because
it is when you're reading the story and it's like, oh, where would you like to go next in this story? That's a path.
Well, it's Raheem Morris down there, right?
First year head coach.
Okay. if I go to camp and Kirk isn't ready to go, and I got to start the rookie. And by the way, he's a 24-year-old rookie who's played a lot of football in a pro-style offense. Now, granted, not against pros, but understood. And he starts off, and look, I don't care. Let's say 3-1 after 4 weeks, and Kirk's ready to go. And my guy looks pretty good. Man, it's going to be hard for me to say I'm 3-1.
I wonder if they even start Michael Penix in that scenario.
Where else would they go? I mean, I'll tell you where they go.
Taylor Heineke?
Why wouldn't they? I mean, if Penix beats out Heineke, and that's why you have camp, right? But can you imagine if that happened? Then they start Taylor Heineke and they start out 1-3 and they people lose their mind. I mean, at that point, then why'd you draft Michael Penix? Because you're going to be watching the other guys, one who went after him, and 2 who went before him, both starting. I'm going to be watching Caleb Williams starting in Chicago. Jaden Daniels is going to be starting for the Commanders. And J.J. McCarthy will be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. And there's a real chance Bo Nix will be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. And you're going to tell me I'm starting Taylor Heineke in front of him. Then you can ask the question, why the hell did you pick him? Like, I didn't even consider that, to be honest with you. I guess it's something that's real, though. Well, he's just not ready. Then why did you use it? Every other first-round pick at every position starts, right? I draft a left tackle, he starts. I draft a corner, he starts. I draft a receiver, he starts, right? And I get it. Quarterback's a totally different world. I didn't even consider it. All right, so there's a lot of stories there's a lot of what-ifs. What if Drew Brees would have passed his physical with the Dolphins? It's a big what-if, right? All right, what's New England going to do? So when you wrote this down here, it kind of blew my mind. So when I think of quarterback instability, quarterback carousel over the last however many years you want to pick, you think of it like the Cleveland Browns, right? Is that the poster child?
We can. There's a few. The Browns,
Jets,
Broncos,
Bears. Right, that was 4 of them.
Yeah,
that was 4. All right,
Washington.
Yeah. You think of stability, you think of the Packers, right? Packers have basically had 3 starting quarterbacks for the last 20-plus years. Favre, Rodgers, Love, right? I mean, you had a spot starter here and there for injury. And you think of the Patriots. When you put this down here, the Patriots have had 5 quarterbacks start games in the 4 years since Tom Brady left. I'm like, holy bleep, right? So they got a new head coach, Jared Mayo, and he concedes Jacoby Brissett could start the season at quarterback. They drafted a quarterback. The Patriots hope that Drake May wins the job, but they said they're not going to rush him. The quote from their head coach is, coming in as a rookie, hopefully he's a sponge. A lot of good players in that locker room. Look, Jacoby understands. He's a mentor. He's very smart. He has great leadership skills. Hopefully Drake can learn something from him as well. I'd say we're going to compete all spring. We're going to compete during training camp, and the best player will start. Just drafted the guy number 3 overall. In 2 decades ago football, this is what I want, man. I want him to start behind a bridge quarterback. I want him to learn. In today's football, now let me just tell you something.
In today's football, Drake May can sit in that terrible offense.
That's where I was going. Ideally for Drake May, he doesn't need to get thrown to the wolves in that offense. It might be better for Jacoby Brissett to go out and get his ass kicked than for Drake May to go out there and lose all his confidence. Because my best receiver is Kendrick Bourne. Demario Douglas was really nice. Jalen Polk, they just drafted, right? Juju's there. KJ Osborne. I mean, you got...
Now, if Drake May is clean enough and consistent enough in camp, and you see, like, hey, this guy has the skills. Like, he is backing up why he was in conversation to be a top 3 pick, then you play him.
Okay.
Like, if he shows that he can understand it, handle it.
And you're hoping that. My point is for him, and I think it's your point too, he may be best to not have to go out there because they're not going to be very good. Now, as I look at their roster, they're a little bit better than I thought they were, to be honest with you. Is their offensive line just really bad?
They're a little bit better than you thought they were.
Look, man, I think Demario Douglas is a good receiver. Juju's there. KJ Osborne. They don't have anybody.
They had
who just
those
jumps
players
off.
last year.
They don't have anybody who
They
jumps
scored
off.
236 points.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys were super injured. Ramondre Stevens is a good back.
They scored as many points as the Carolina Panthers.
Is that right?
Yes. That is not a good offense.
Who's their quarterback? Who's Mac Jones? Right? Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi were their quarterbacks. I mean, isn't that what it always comes back to? And Mac Jones was just throwing balls to dudes in the other color shirts all day. Like, if I upgrade the quarterback position, aren't I going to score more points now? When you look at those pieces, are they horrible to you?
Yes.
Really?
Dude, Pop Douglas is a wide receiver 3. Juju's been there, done that.
I don't see a 1 there. I don't know what Jalen Polk's going to end up being. I don't see a stud guy that you're giving like the Bears just loaded up and gave Caleb Williams all these weapons. But I don't see just crap. When I'm looking at their depth chart, now I don't know, I can't speak to their offensive line. But I look at their depth chart and I'm like, okay. I mean, he's got guys that they're pro receivers. Ramondre Stevenson should be back. He was hurt all year. How much of that was quarterback play was just horrible? Because their quarterback play was horrible. Mac Jones was really, really, really bad. I mean, Belichick was pulling him each week and then had to go back to him because the guy put in was worse. I'm not telling you they're the Chiefs, please. But don't you attribute...
There's not a wide receiver on that roster that could be a top 2 wide receiver anywhere.
Top 2? All right, 505-246-0610. I got a bunch from you. We'll get what you have to say. We come back everywhere from transfer portal to playing 18 games to all of it. 505-246-0610. Come on in. Oh, and by the way, this NFL owner turned down $10 billion. Wouldn't it be nice to be in a position to say, yeah, I'm good. I don't need your $10 billion. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, Sports Zone.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the pennies. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot! Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet! Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
On the transfer portal about the NFL, whatever it is. Text line 505-246-0610. Emails this morning, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com. JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Text line on the Falcons quarterback says, Falcons coaching staff will be able to decide which one's better in days. And if the rookie's better than Kirk Cousins, Kirk gets to sit his ass down on his $90 million guaranteed check. He shouldn't be looking over his shoulder. As long as he plays good, it doesn't matter. And if he doesn't play good, he still has $90 million. Yeah, no, that's right.
It's not about Kirk Cousins. It's about a bad franchise decision then to give the dude $90 million.
And is that the best use of your resources? And can you win, or could you have gone out and protected your quarterback, or got a receiver, or got an edge rusher, or got a corner? some things that you needed. But yeah, they'll see. This is where they are. I get where they gone. We'll see how it plays out. Emails. Dan says, most desperate theory, Jeffrey, Juan Jose, and no Isaiah Jesus. I think they win this morning. I still played today. Last night's heartbreaking loss and a large homecoming crowd will add motivation to not drop another homestand. I'm seeing a score like Albuquerque's baseball team 6-5 over Round Rock. Topes play today, 11 o'clock. Day games tend to be like 13 to 11, don't they?
Or like 20 to 9.
The same amount of runs, 13, 11, and 29, right? That's 20, 24, or 20. That's about the same-ish amount of game or runs. Gopher says, you know what, Jeffy? I don't recall all the problems the NCAA. Oh, I already read you that one. Yeah, it was an issue. HB said, I'm mercenaries. Where have you gone, Royce? Only Lobo fans turn their lonely eyes to you. Ooh. Jeff, has recruiting freshmen become obsolete? Hold on. The whole thing just closed on me. Have they become obsolete? You get someone that's good, and you're always looking over your shoulder that other schools are going to steal them. If they aren't any good, fans don't want to keep them anyway. I don't know if it's obsolete. I think it's got to be managed differently. And we've talked to coaches about this, right, JJ? Like, I don't know, the two freshmen you brought in last year both contributed in huge ways, JT Toppin and in True Washington, didn't they? So you got two freshmen coming in next year that are highly touted. I don't know if it's obsolete, but JJ, maybe they're obsolete at power levels because you just letting them prove themselves somewhere else and bringing them in. Kentucky tried it. I mean, this is the adage, you got to get old and stay old, right?
You're recruiting freshmen at less numbers than you were.
Correct. It's a different strategy. This is from Raina on the college basketball portal. Raina says, with all these players in the portal, do they all honestly think there's a ton of money out there to capitalize on? I would also be interested in seeing how many players actually improve their game once they transfer. I know that question and term improve is subjective, but it seems like more times than not, they downgraded programs being known, etc. So, to your first question, do they all honestly think there's a ton more money out there to capitalize? I think the answer is yes. I think they all believe. Now, players are in the portal for different reasons. Okay? A guy like JT Toppin might be in the portal because he believes he's going to get more money and go to a higher profile program. A guy like Sebastian Forsling may be in the program or in the portal because he really realized there wasn't much playing time for him at UNF, right? Other guys might be in. The coach probably said, hey, we recruited over you need to go. To the other part, and I know I've repeated this stat many times, and I know I'll do it again, but not everybody hears it each time. She said, I'd be interested in how many players actually downgrade in programs. And the stat that I was given, and again, this is April of last year in regards to college football, and I haven't seen it in basketball. 30% of the players in the portal transferred down, meaning they went from Power 5 to Group of 5 or Group of 5 to FCS or lower. 30% did not find another place, meaning they left for whatever reason, whether they were encouraged to leave, told to leave, or left on their own. They left a place where they had a scholarship and were playing a sport to where they did not find that same thing.
I think that those stats are going to change dramatically, though.
Which way?
The other way.
You think so?
Because that's how teams are building.
But did you see the numbers in the portal? How much they increased? We're over 2,000.
Yeah. And those players leaving mean those teams need players.
More and more players. So it was 6-7 dudes leaving each year. Now, what about where the high school kids go? at some point, all these guys were high school kids. Their freshmen are going somewhere. They all go into Siena and St. Francis and Florida Gulf Coast.
It's probably similar to the way it was beforehand. The top 100 kids are still going to the high-profile places.
Okay, the top 100 kids are always going to find a spot.
And the rest are trickling wherever they were going beforehand.
At some point, they got to break in, right?
A little bit lower. Yeah. Like San Jose State needs players. Wyoming needs players.
Every year, San Jose State gets, just murdered. Garcia says, reply to Jeff Grammer. Grammer put out a list. Freshman of the year in the Mountain West Conference over the last decade, only 3 of them finished out all their eligibility with the school which they won freshman of the year. Garcia says, Jeff, the good news for Lobo fans is that none of the names on that list blow my socks off with what they did after leaving their Mountain West school. Namus Keita is still, I believe, in the NBA, right? How'd Darian Williams do at Texas Tech?
Well,
I thought so. Okay. We'll see where they go. I think there's, and you said this yesterday, there's a bigger ceiling for JT. More of these, they keep coming in. I want to hear from you today. 505-246-0610, 18-game schedule potentially in the NFL. We had hoops last night. 2 big blowouts. Celtics and Mavericks both win big. 505-246-0610 on the opening drive. On 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Hour.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, refractive lens exchange. the latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Adventure is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Asking shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the minutes. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Sports Animal. Stephen Ross makes a lot of money. He's the owner of the Dolphins. He is the man for whom the Ross Business School at Michigan is named because he gave them a lot of money. He purchased 50% of the Dolphins franchise in the stadium and the surrounding land back in 2008. He spent $550 million, another 45%. So he's in about $1 billion. JJ, he turned down a $10 billion offer for control of the franchise, the Hard Rock Stadium, the Formula One Miami Grand Prix. Can you imagine being in a position to? No, I'm good, man. I don't need $10 billion.
Got to up that number for me.
He wanted to keep control in his family of those entities. So evidently, the Dolphins are worth about 5.7, which is 11th highest in the league in valuation. The stadium and the Formula One race adds to the value. I can't even imagine at 83. And basically, what he's saying is, I'm going to let my family have it all, and they'll figure it out. But I mean, here's $10 billion. I guess you get to a point where I got everything I want, and maybe that's the answer. How much is enough? And I enjoy I want control of the team. I want control of the franchise. I want control of the stadium. And to me, I can make plenty of money. I can make more money, and that's worth more money than the $10 billion. I don't even have a problem with it. I just don't even know what it would be like to be in that position, right? But it's. I mean, God bless him. 505-246-0610. When we come back, will the Celtics get a test before the NBA Finals? Or is it just, would you call it a cruise? Would you call it not a cakewalk? You like the golden path, though, right?
They have the golden path to the NBA Finals.
It's the opening drive. Jeff JJ on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Hour.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the minutes. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Well, maybe last night was the night to watch the hockey instead of the hoops. You're looking for close ones last night anyway. 2 one-goal games in hockey. Kings get eliminated by Edmonton, and Dallas takes a 3-2 series lead over Vegas. But you probably watched the hoops and watched a couple of blowouts. Celtics 118, Miami 84. So Boston closes that series out. They beat the Heat 4-1. Mavericks win in LA. They beat the Clippers 123-93. Win by 30. Luka had 35, 7, and 10. And Paul George and James Harden combined for 22 on 6 of 25 shooting. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. So the question is, man, the Celtics were the best team all year. Will they get challenged? Are they going to play a deep series before they get to the finals? Next up, they get the winner of Orlando and Cleveland. The other side of that has whoever comes out of Milwaukee, Indiana against whoever comes out of Philadelphia, New York. I guess you could say the Knicks could really make a run. They going to get challenged in the East?
They shouldn't be challenged. They'll drop a game, but in terms of thinking they should be in a 7-game series, no. Because the only team that I think could push them would be Milwaukee, but
they'd have to be healthy.
Dame has been Achilles issue, Giannis with the calf, and that's even acknowledging that Kristaps Porzingis, even by the Eastern Conference Finals, you don't know if he's going to be back because he's dealing with the same thing that Giannis is, and that calf injury, and how much that affects you and everything that you're doing on the floor. But I still like Boston overall because you're still running out Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Derek White, and all the other depth players. Mm-hmm. They should not be challenged in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I look at the path, and as good as they are, and boy, everybody's beating themselves up in the West. Next series, when does Denver, Minnesota start?
Saturday night.
It will start Saturday night. The other side, you've got Oklahoma City waiting for the winner of the Clippers and the Mavericks. I think both those series are going to be really, really good. Denver, Minnesota could end up being one of the best series we see in the playoffs this year. You disagree? I mean, just as far as competitive, fun, good, go at each other basketball.
I think it will be it's the best series that will feature the 2 best teams.
Okay.
I think you could look at Philadelphia and New York, and it's been very interesting because teams don't know how to hold a lead in the final 30 seconds. But I do think Denver, Minnesota will be the best series because it's the 2 best teams that will face each other.
No, I think that's probably right. All right, the other one last night, the Clippers. This series, the Clippers blew a 31-point lead on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday in Dallas, and then came back and won. Harden was unbelievable. Couldn't miss a shot. Last night they go home. They get beat by 30. Harden goes 2 for 12, scores 7 points. Paul George, 4 of 13. He scored 15. Kawhi Leonard's on the bench. So the inclination is that series is over. But I think it is. But the Clippers can come out and those 2 guys could hit and they could send this thing back. The fact that Clippers every year have never, ever, 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 ever been to a conference final is, by the way, bonkers. And they're set up like
that's bonkers.
That franchise has never been to a conference final. Yeah. As long as they've been
Clippers.
around. Yes.
The mess that the Clippers are.
Look,
that's not bonkers.
And some of the players who've gone through there, and you think of some of those. So yeah, it is. To me, it is. Now I know what
you believe in Chris Paul and Blake Griffin that much.
They sure did. The world seemed to at that point.
By the way, Blake Griffin retired, so hats off to you, Blake, and jumping over cars.
Let's assume they lose this series. They're moving into that brand new billion insane arena. I didn't even know what it was when I was there this summer. What is that? Oh. Who's in a worse position right now? Them or Phoenix? Phoenix has Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, and got swept in the first round of the playoffs.
Phoenix.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because they have nowhere to go. They've got draft picks every other year. They've got Kevin Durant still.
They don't have draft picks for the next 5 seasons.
And I was listening to the Phoenix radio yesterday on the way to the airport, and so that they said that is a common. I got to go back.
It's a misconception.
They said it's an absolute misconception that every other year they have a draft, like 20 the even years.
And thus,
yeah.
They're
said
not
that's
able to trade those draft picks. Is that a possibility?
Something along those lines? But evidently, they're the fact that they don't have one for 5 years is not right. Because I heard that narrative, and then as I was on my way to the airport yesterday, those guys were saying it's just flat out not true. So you think they're in a worse position than the Clippers? Paul George is going to be a free
Clippers
agent.
at least win games.
They do. Well, one was a
They're
5
in a
seed,
series.
one was a 5 seed, one was a 6, right? One was a 4, one was a 6. I mean, they were literally right next to each other.
Okay.
But in you're
Phoenix
right.
win a game in the playoffs?
No, they did not. They did not. Paul George.
And I trust Ballmer in that ownership group way more than Matt Ishbia. Ishbia seemed like he was a dude that had way too much caffeine when he was trying to explain away
yesterday.
Like,
where he said Frank Vogel did some good things. I've done some good things.
It was one of those press conferences where like I am having trouble following this guy. It's like me trying to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
He the Suns owner went out yesterday and said we have not even addressed it. We haven't even had one conversation about a player or a coach. I'm like, well, why not? What are we waiting for? The media over there is swarming around Frank Vogel. The thought process is either your roster is good enough and your coach couldn't make it work, or your coach is good enough and your roster's not good. And I think it's somewhere in the middle, but I think that the reality is this isn't Frank Vogel's fault because you had 3 stars who weren't healthy all year, but you don't have a point guard. You have no depth. You don't play defense, right? I mean, tell me where I'm wrong on that roster construction. So do you fire Frank Vogel? So the owner came out yesterday and said, we haven't had relax, we're fine. We're on the right path, and I've done some great things, and Frank's done some great things, and everybody's done some great things. What are we doing?
Like, I'm okay with that point. If you're an owner and you're coming out and you're not ready to blow up everything, you're saying, hey, we're taking a process.
But he didn't say that.
No.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say anything along those lines.
No, he
There's
said
a lot of, I don't know, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Why would I 4 days after we got eliminated, why would I have had any conversations with him? Guys get to this point because they're very successful. They're smart guys. And he's willing to spend money. See, I look at the Clippers. Do you think Paul George is back next year? Paul George to the Knicks. I don't know. I know he's a West Coast guy. So the Clippers just run this thing back? How much can you rely on Kawhi? Like if you're Paul George and you came over to play with Kawhi. Now I got Kawhi and Harden's there. But can I rely on Kawhi as much as he might be my boy, he might be my buddy, he might be my friend, how much can I rely on him to get me where I want to be? And I love me some Kawhi Leonard. But as you were saying earlier, dude.
But that's the thing. If I am the Clippers, I'm trying to keep Paul George and James Harden and worrying about, can I get rid of Kawhi Leonard?
But how can you? You just re-signed him. Didn't you just commit a bunch more money to him last offseason?
He did.
Like a huge obscene chunk, right? I don't know what Kawhi's contract is. You probably do, but they're committed. That's why I'm not sure. I think either one of them are in a great spot. There's talk. The Phoenix talk was if you keep Vogel, who are you trading? Bradley Beal's got a no trade clause. So are you trading Booker or are you trading Durant? For whom can you get more pieces? If you dangle Kevin Durant to the Knicks, can you get something back? They fit him under the cap. Or, how do you make that work? Were you looking at Kawhi's contract?
I'm trying to figure out what's up with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
So they have a pick this year.
Yeah.
But they owe Brooklyn picks in 25, 27, 29.
Right. So they have 24, 26, 28.
Orlando or Memphis have the right to swap 2026 with them.
They would be swapped, so they still have a pick.
The Wizards have the right to swap in 28.
So that's what they were saying.
So they don't have those assets to trade. That's the thing. They have picks
because they cannot trade them. They cannot
because
trade them. Right. They have picks, but they cannot trade them because they're owed.
And so that doesn't make it better. It makes it worse.
Probably. But they can still make it.
Because you need those picks to make trades.
Right. Yeah. So what you have is either Kevin Durant or you have Devin Booker.
Because if you're in this spot, you're going to be essentially sitting there in the back in the first round all those years.
So do you want Kevin Durant? Would you trade Booker or Durant? Or would you? I mean, how do you find a point guard late in the draft? You find a point guard.
At this point, the Suns are... The one thing I would be looking at would be trading Kevin Durant.
And I think that's something that's happening.
Because if they're desperate for not just players.
They can get a haul. They can get draft picks. They can get...
But to try to acquire picks that are then movable, which they don't have movable picks. That's the thing. So the Phoenix Suns, the Phoenix dudes, they're right. They're like, we have picks. Yeah, but they're not picks you can use to get
you can
better
use them
in
for
terms
players.
of
And they'll be late picks for players. You can't use them as assets to go trade.
You do a bunch of swaps. Right. You don't own your picks forever. So that's the difference. So they can't acquire talent that way. But that's not... Phoenix Suns are not looking at, hey, man, I can't wait till who we can select in the 25th pick in the 2028 draft.
Kawhi, meanwhile, the Clippers signed a 3-year, $150 million contract with
$50 million a year,
all of it guaranteed. Average, well, it's $149,650,000 or $149,650,000. So it's basically $150. Guaranteed annual salary of $49.88 million. Salary cap hit of 49.3, dead cap of 49.3. So I mean, they got him for 2 more years at $50 million a year. I love me some Kawhi Leonard when he's good, man. But again, if I'm Paul George, am I hitching my wagon to that star? He's a free agent. Ballmer's going to try to sign him, right? Does Harden stick around too? He is, right? He's got another year, I think. I don't know. I don't know which one's got it worse. But you look at it, boy, there's so much star power. They got 3 stars on each team, and we're going they're both going out in the first round. It's the opening drive, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. If you're Phoenix, how do you get better? And if the answer is I got to trade Kevin Booker or I got to trade Kevin Durant to go get assets, which one are you moving? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Hour.
Travis Kelce's girlfriend. Travis!
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Still a difference to the point where the school is going to bankrupt their NIL fund to get it. 35-year-old Kevin Durant, is he still that guy? Matt Ishbia said yesterday, the owner of the Suns, that we are going to unlock Kevin Durant. Nobody has maximized his potential, and we're going to be the first one. I don't know. That's
a wildly outrageous quote.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. The Warriors didn't.
I mean,
even his time in OKC, there wasn't some potential.
He was pretty damn good, right? There's a lot of talk. He goes back to OKC. If you're Oklahoma City, and you've got that core, that nucleus right there, you were the number one seed in the Western Conference. If you don't, so they're going to get. Let's say they get to the conference final and lose to Denver or Minnesota. Or let's say that they don't get through this round. If you're OKC, do you need to bring Kevin Durant in there? I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I got Chet Holmgren. I've got Josh Giddey. I've got Jalen Williams. Like, am I willing to bring that guy in and give up some of that core that I've Shea Gilgeous-Alexander isn't homegrown, but a lot of it's homegrown. If you're in Oklahoma City, would you consider a trade? I don't think I would.
You don't have to yet.
Okay, but you say yet. What would make you get there?
When you have to start paying 3-4 guys max contracts.
Yep.
Jalen Williams is his second year.
Yeah, I know. And it was making $2 million.
Chet Holmgren. Like, no, you don't have to do that yet.
What's Holmgren making? Holmgren's making 10.3. I don't know. I mean, their biggest pay. Well, they're still paying Gordon Hayward $31.5 million. Can you believe Gordon Hayward's making $31.5 million? I guess it depends how deep you go, right? If you don't get to, so if you get knocked out in the next round, you say, all right, we're a 1 seed, but we got to get better. And if Phoenix comes and says, hey, I want Jalen Williams next year's their number one pick is 30th, right? 37. I mean, what does it take? Because salary wise, it would take half that damn roster, wouldn't it? Just to make an NBA contract, an NBA trade work. But I've been hearing a whole lot of, well, he goes back there. Well, I don't know that Oklahoma City does. As much as they loved him there, they're the damn 1 seed, dude. And they're young and they're exciting. If you haven't watched them, that's a team you're going to love to watch here in the next one.
And Oklahoma City's been in this position.
Yeah.
As Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden were all young guys that went to the NBA Finals in OKC.
Yeah, I look at that roster now, and I don't know where they are in draft capital and all that stuff. But I look at the young talent they've got, and they're just going to get better and better and better. Chet Holmgren became that guy this year, didn't he? The guy that you expected in his rookie year, and I guess this was considered his rookie year. He was really good. SGA is a whatever the level below superstar is, right? He is a prime star now. It's I don't know that I would do it. All right, other stuff you got coming in, 505-246-0610, and the emails, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com. Carl said the biggest news yesterday was Tiger Woods strongly hinting he'll be at Valhalla 2 weeks for the championship. Yep, that was, we'll see. And I got to believe he's going to play in the PGA Championship. Rod says Dion is the face of mercenaries. Jefferson, is this a blessing in disguise? Does the bleep show in Colorado bring sanity back to college football? How? What's going on up there? Does it bring sanity back to college football? How, like is everybody else going to not do that? No. What I tell you, 61% of last year's guys are gone already. The guys that came in last year, which is kind of crazy. All the guys that he brought in. Mike's in on Mike's NFL plan. So we talked about 18-game season. Players Association says, well, if we even consider that, we want a second bye week. So that means the season would start Labor Day weekend and the Super Bowl would be President's Day before February. We've been trying to get traction for spring football forever, he says, but none of these leagues have caught fire. So Mike would have the NFL play through New Year's Day. Take the cold month of January off for teams to heal up, and then have a spring finish with the 4 regular season games and the tournament starting in February as an added incentive. The team with the best record in those final 4, not otherwise in the playoffs, would get into the tournament. So he wants to take a recess because somehow February is way warmer than January, and he wants to recess and everybody gets healthy and then resume a month later. I don't hate a 1 or 2 week break.
Before the entire playoff start?
No, he says before the regular season. They played the last 4 weeks of the regular season. He wants a break in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I think at some point, too, you'd get dudes like, I just want to be done with this season.
100%.
And
yeah, especially
play this out. Because you're not going to sit there for a month and do nothing. You're just going to have to show up to the facility and practice.
and pay these
your
guys
work.
more. Yeah, especially the guys who are on a 2-10 football. All right, Omar's in on Ezekiel Elliott coming back to the Cowboys. Jeff, all I remember is that tournament game against the 49ers when Pollard limped off the court, so we needed our $15 million starting running back to come up big. Instead, he was a non-factor for the NFL's most outstanding organization. Yeah, he's somebody else's problem. Where Tony Pollard in?
Tony Pollard signed in Tennessee.
That's right. Bill says, meanwhile, the monument of mediocrity, how big is that PCL went to split seasons to give fans hope? It would be a long, hot summer, being only May 2nd and being 12 lengths back. Yep, you get a reset midseason for minor league baseball. When do we get the official opening drive Derby picks? Kentucky Derby this weekend. Maybe tomorrow. Jack says it's the curse of V. Stigian. Jeff, the Lakers JV, the Clippers, will never win a belt because of the curse of V. Stigian. Remember her? Donald's little wabbit. That was his little wabbit.
See, Netflix is doing a Clippers
I didn't
show.
Like how deep they going? Like Clippers current?
No, it's the Doc Rivers, Lob City, when all this stuff was going on.
When it all went down. I'll bet that's going to be really interesting. Bourne says, I already asked you. He says, is Devin Durant still in it? All right, 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. You're in on OKC, and you're in on the Clippers as well. Get into some of that stuff, and when we come back, how is a punter a weapon? How are they going to use this punter as a weapon? And they took him in the 4th round. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Hour.
Travis Kelce's girlfriend. Travis Kelce!
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor.
Remember the game 2 nights ago? 76ers came back, beat the Knicks. That was the game where the Knicks blew that 6-point lead in the last 30 seconds. One of the big plays in that was Tyrese Maxey. Hit a 4-point play. He got fouled, hit the free throw. The NBA issues this thing called this 2-minute report. They go through and they critique their own officiating in the last 2 minutes of the game. And so the 2-minute report from Game 5 of that game, basically they said that Tyrese Maxey traveled. It should have been called the travel. This is so baseball of them. It's so baseball of them just to draw attention to themselves. And nobody asked. Nobody even said it. He did. He moved his right foot, which was his pivot foot. In regular speed, it's really hard to see. But there are 3 other calls that were deemed incorrect. There should have been 0.4 of a second left in regulation. The Knicks ball after Nicholas Batum blocked Jalen Brunson's potential game-shining shot out of bounds. Brunson should have been called for an offensive foul in overtime of the play that ultimately became a flagrant foul on Embiid for hitting Brunson in the head. And Josh Hart was not actually out of bounds with 41 and a half seconds to go. I go through these things and I wonder, do they need this? Sometimes you want to hear it and sometimes you don't. And I can appreciate the transparency in which they're approaching this, what they're trying to do. Does this help their cause? When you heard this, did this, I don't know. It feels like this is them just kicking themselves in the face with the 2-minute report. Did you need it?
Well, they've been doing it for a long time now.
I know.
Well, that's the thing. Do you want transparency or do you not? Because people scream for accountability. And you're not changing the result, but you're saying, hey, we are seeing these things. We're trying to fix these things.
Did you see it before? Did you question that before they came out with it?
Not that play.
Not at all, huh? I don't even think the Knicks could question that. I mean, they certainly go through this with a fine-tooth comb, though. They really do. 505-246-0610. Adolph, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. What's happening, Adolph?
Hey, I thought I heard you mention about a team taking a punter in the 4th round. I think that was the Bears.
It was the Bears. It was the Bears. Yeah.
Yeah. Taking that punter, I believe that kid comes out of the University of Iowa.
That is correct.
And I think he averaged about 48 yards per punt over the season. And that gives an advantage with regard to changing of field position. And I remember, and Jeff, you may remember this, the Hall of Fame punter Ray Guy for the old Oakland Raiders.
He's the only punter in the Hall of Fame.
And he was taken in the 1st round, by the Raiders. And he was an extremely powerful weapon that the Raiders used to change field position. So much so that he ended up in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And I don't know if he's the only punter in the Hall of Fame, but I know when he was admitted he was.
Yeah, I believe he's still
Anyway,
is.
so I have no problem whatsoever with the Bears drafting a punter in the 4th round because that is like a serious artillery piece on the gridiron.
Yeah,
so anyway, I'm out. Thanks.
No, it's great. And that's exactly what Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Bears, believes. They expect him to be a difference maker. The quote from Ryan Poles, and he was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, I didn't expect him to get much further. Definitely didn't think I'd be able to pick him up when we got him in the 5th round. I guess it was the 5th round. And really thought the process there is to make anyone we're playing really uncomfortable. I didn't play much in the NFL, but I know running onto the field and having the ball spotted inside the 10 is very uncomfortable feeling. It's disheartening at times. And I love taking advantage of field position. And really, that should help us with points as well. So I think he's going to add to our team and, again, make it uncomfortable for any team we're going against. That was his quote. That was his point. You okay with the 5th round? I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. It wouldn't matter a rise. The Bills took him in the 6th round a few years ago. The punt god out of San Diego State. I want to say that was about the 6th round. But yeah, that's where he went. And you got dudes all over the floor. Everything's a weapon. And special teams, coaches will tell you all the time, special teams are 1/3 of the game. It's offense, defense, and special teams. And if you think there's a special weapon, then you go and get it. Now, Caleb Williams.
You better not need that special weapon. If you need your punter to be a weapon, you are in store for a terrible season.
Okay. Best game is when your punter doesn't go out there, right?
Yes.
So Caleb Williams said, hey, you're not going to punt too much here. That was their quarterback. He tweeted that. He said, hey, you're not going to punt too much here. It's nice to have a good one, but nobody wants to see him. Now, that franchise has seen a damn lot of their punter. Look, did you need other things? At some point, you got to fill every hole.
Hmm?
Can you find a good punter? You should be able to. But yeah, Ryan Poles flat out said, I didn't think we'd be able to get him somewhere else.
The teams that had the punters that got the ball inside the 20 the most last year, I know he's focused on inside the 10, but I haven't been able to find that specific stat yet. The top 4 were on all bad football teams.
Oh, of course, man. Look, I want you to look over the last bunch of years of Lobo football and who makes first team all conference. Their punter.
And you had the 5th most punts inside at the 20-yard line last year?
Who?
Corey Bajorquez.
See?
Boom.
He's a Lobo
Cleveland
punter.
Browns.
He played with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Lobos have put out some punters, right? Yes, they tend to be on bad football. Iowa, who had the worst offense in America last year? A good team.
Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, that's all they
Iowa.
did was punt, right? But they scored 7 points a game.
That's why their punter got drafted.
100%.
And they did have a backup tight end who didn't play a lot but was hurt all the time get drafted because you draft Iowa tight end.
Iowa tight ends hit, like 80% of the time. Yeah, there's trends, man. Trends become trends because, well, they're trends, if that makes any sense. All right, text line. Paul George might be the most underrated player in the NBA. I hope he becomes a Laker. I don't know if I believe that. I think Paul George is properly rated. Don't you? I think Paul George is sometimes spectacular and sometimes disappointing.
He's pretty much the life of a star player in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I don't know that I think Paul George is underrated. Also says OKC does not need to make any moves. All their players are going to get better. Well, they will make moves because every team will make moves, and depending on where they are. Look, even the team who won it all last year made moves, right? The Nuggets don't look exactly like they did. Then they lost a couple of pieces. They didn't have to add anything. Nothing. The Nuggets are pretty much the same running it back.
They're starting 5 entirely.
Well, they're starting 5. Yeah.
Their bench is players they drafted. Brown and Watson are players they drafted.
Yeah, fair enough.
They do not have a free agent and or trade acquisition that is playing minutes on that team.
Who'd they lose off last year's team?
Bruce Brown.
That was it, right? Mm-hmm. That was it. All right, fair enough. Oklahoma City, I believe, will like most teams.
And so I was messing around with the trade machine on ESPN.
Yeah.
To get Kevin Durant to OKC, it took 6 Oklahoma City players. And that's if you wanted to keep at least Holmgren.
You're going to want to keep SGA.
So you keep SGA, Holmgren, and Giddey.
Yeah.
You got to give up both Jalen Williams. You got to give up your best defender in Lou Dort. And you got to throw in a bunch of contracts.
That's just not worth it to me. And
It's
by the
not
way,
worth it for either team.
Because you need Dort. Because, by the way, when you get here, somebody's got to play freaking defense.
Now, Jalen Williams would be the one piece It's very intriguing for me if I'm Phoenix, but I don't need to make that move.
Wow.
Like there's no reason for Oklahoma City to be in that conversation. I was trying to mess around with it with the Warriors, and that is just messy. Like just too much. Both teams are way over the salary cap and trying to figure out how to match it.
Yeah, because there's some boys that he would go there too. What's his salary? What's he make?
KD is like 47.
Same. So I mean that kind of excludes the Lakers. Limits where you can move him. What about New York? Because I could see that kind of splash for the Knicks, especially if they don't get out of the next round. I could see New York trying to do that. How many? You get to a point where.
Well, what's interesting for Paul George,
is
I think he feels that he can get one more decent bite of the apple. He's going to be 34 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He has a player option for $44 million next year. Which is
how much?
$44 million. And he's probably sitting there thinking he could get a Kawhi Leonard deal.
5 for $150 million, or 3 for $150 million.
But the challenge for free agents next year, if these teams want to acquire players, they are not big time players, and the ones that are old, they are. Like James Harden's going to be 35. Paul George is going to be 34.
James Harden free agent?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Paul George is 34. Durant's 35.
So I think the Clippers absolutely give Paul George a Kawhi contract. Keep him into town. Who knows what happens with James Harden? Because to acquire a star level player, it's going to be via trade. Because then you look at the next tier of guys, and one that I think it's going to be interesting. Pascal Siakam's kind of right there in that range of. It's going to shock people what he gets, but he's 30 years old, making $30 million right now.
And
he's a free agent. But then you look at the rest. Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown.
Buddy Hield's going to get paid some.
He's 32, and he'll be a good complimentary piece. But in terms of star free agents, there is none.
NBA reviews in the last 2 minutes, it says here on my text line. What a joke. Imagine if they reviewed the whole game. You'd have a novel. Just call the game by the rules. We actually don't need a report, as the ineptitude is glaring. The question is it deliberate? It's from Don. JJ, I side with you on this. I think the 2-minute report over time has helped answer some questions. Now, does it make anybody feel better? It pisses off every fan base at some point.
Well, they're going to be pissed off anyway.
Right.
People are going to complain that the game is rigged. Their teams never get the calls. Like, we've seen those issues. We know they're not going away. And then you ask for accountability, and they're like, where's some accountability? And you're like, well, that's dumb. We shouldn't do that.
I don't know what you want to do. If you got humans, they're going to miss calls. And so now you're going back and say, yep, no, they missed the call. You're right. Nothing we can do about it. Playoff. So I see why they do it. And then there's something like this one. You're like, wow, nobody even thought about that one. Gosh, you guys really blew it. 505-246-0610. Everything you got to know as you go through your whatever day today is. It's Thursday. On the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Hour.
My dad and my mom.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the pennies. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Weekdays at 4 on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Has the OD ever put together an all-injured team? Kawhi's got to be at the top of the list with Zion, Embiid, AD, Durant, etc. Right? You think you just did, Born? There's your team. Have we ever done it? Nope, you just did. Pretty good one, too. Kawhi, Zion, Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Durant. Pretty good. Does Durant make that list?
No.
Probably not. AD.
I don't think Kawhi Leonard or Anthony Davis should be on that team because they played in big games and performed.
Okay. AD has 2 this year and last.
He's a champion.
AD played 73 games this year. I mean, Zion's
like Joel Embiid, Zion Williamson. That's a different conversation than trying to lump in dudes that have played and won in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it's a hard one, right? Now, this version of Kawhi has been hurt. Kawhi the Clipper. He's been hurt a lot.
At some point in time, like I think that's a different like Zion and Embiid. It's not being able to fulfill the potential of what could be versus players that have.
Fair enough. All right, what are people going to be talking about as you go through your day? What have we been talking about? Certainly the NBA last night, 2 blowouts in the league. Celtics finished off the Heat last night. Final score was 118-84. They win the series 4-1. Jaylen Brown, Derek White each had 25 for the winners. Mavericks beat the Clippers without Kawhi, 123-93. Luka Doncic had 35, 7, and 10. And that series is 3-2, headed back to Texas. The portal is closed, both football and basketball. Brittany Griner spoke on 60 Minutes, 2020, one of those last night, not 60 Minutes. NFL's talking about an 18-game season. Zeke is back with the Cowboys, citing unfinished business. And Deion Sanders is clapping on the Twitter against a former player who came out and criticized him. Tonight, the National Basketball Association, you get Milwaukee and Indianapolis. That game is in Indiana. It's Indiana. It's in Indianapolis. 3-2, Pacers trying to close out Milwaukee. Have we heard anything on Giannis or Dame tonight, availability?
They're not playing.
Neither one are playing tonight. Okay. Philly at home trying to stay alive. The Knicks will be there. And that series is 3-2. Sixers ownership, by the way, bought up the last 2,000 tickets because Knick fans had taken over their arena. Joel Embiid, after the last game in Pennsylvania, complained about how many Knicks fans were in the building. And so the owners of the Sixers and former minority owner Michael Rubin purchased tickets, and they're giving them to first responders, which, I mean, it's hard to argue saying here, thank you to the police and the firefighters and hospital workers. You get to go to the game, but if they can get off work. Okay. But the reason that they had to buy they're
going to need Batman to patrol the city tonight.
Seriously.
Everyone at the basketball game.
All your first responders, don't start a fire and don't rob a house. I guess that's kind of how it is. I don't know, man. Some people are really bothered by this. I'm just not. If you got the money, you want to go buy the tickets and buy up your house and hand out tickets to first responders. People are losing their mind over this.
It's one that they're trying to make it sound better. Like, oh, yeah, we're giving them out to first responders.
Well, how else would you make it sound better? By just, buying up the tickets?
They didn't buy the tickets to hand them out. They bought the tickets so the Knicks fans wouldn't be there.
100% right.
Which is,
even on his face, I don't have a problem.
I guess I give them credit because if I was an owner, I'd still like money. And you're not making any money by buying out those tickets.
Well, all right. Does the home court advantage give my team a better chance to win? And if my team wins, do I make more money? So if I buy
2,000 Knicks fans,
what's the average price of a ticket? A couple $100, $300? What do you want me to say? What's my number? Say $350 times 2,000, $700,000. It's pittance to these guys. I know you. Look, I see your eyes. I know what that means to you and me.
The difference in this series is Joel Embiid's knee, not 2,000 Knicks fans.
I agree with you. That too, but as far as do you write that money off? If you're those guys, do I write off that $700,000?
That's what they're trying to do, right? And say it's a charitable donation. Hey, you bought the tickets, we're handing them out to first responders.
That's it. Send the receipt to my accountant. I'll write it off as where people are losing their mind is, well, Philly's the best sports town in America. It's where you don't want to go. That's kind of so. Bourne wants to know if we talked about Sam Hilliard becoming Albuquerque baseball team's Isotopes best all-time player. The best all-time player Isotopes have ever had.
The most home runs.
Yeah, I know that. I read that. I got the press release. All right. And then there's this. Did you see this? Justin Fields, the backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had not seen this until just now. Did you see how they maybe want to use him?
Slash. What are they doing?
As a return man. I'm going to put my backup quarterback out there returning punts. So Cam Hayward's not just football podcast. Running back Jaylen Warren said Smith suggested Fields could return kickoffs with the rule change preventing players from moving until the runner returns the ball. I think it's pretty good, Warren told Hayward. It says in here, as soon as you touch the ball, that's when everything starts to happen. Our special teams coordinator was talking about Justin Fields being back. We're like, hold up. We looked at him like, Justin Fields about to be back there? I don't know. I think it's cool. That's what they said. So your special teams coordinator is going, all right, I get why he wants it. I'm a special teams guy. The most dangerous guy on the field might be your quarterback. I want him to return punts. Dude. More so, it wouldn't be punts, it would be kicks. You put your backup quarterback, that guy, I guess you got nothing invested in him.
I feel like if you believe he's that good of an athlete, I'd want to try to harness that at quarterback first before saying, all right, you can go return kickoffs for us.
I mean,
I feel like, you know what, we could use a dude that can rush for 1,000 yards at the quarterback position in an offense that has not been explosive. And let's work on the passing game before putting you out there to return kicks.
Keep saying get your most explosive players the ball, right? How do you get them involved? What do you get? Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd will be after. No, then you get Ice Soaps baseball. Soaps play today. Round Rock is in town. Go out and enjoy some day baseball. 2 minutes here at 4. We're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio starting at 7 a.m. Adrian looks good on the TV side. Thank you. Big day for you.
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. I can show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the minutes. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot! Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet!
Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?